then undo the effect of the home on the children in the classroom. So the busing decision was to consolidate schools. We thought, well, bigger labs and football teams. No, it was to destroy the traditional home. Of course, most Americans in traditional homes are, wow, this is great. My child's going to get ahead. They've already worked out how to close the private schools. See, if your church has one denomination, this is important to understand, this is what Hitler used, and it just goes on and on. If your denomination only allows students from your denomination in that school, they can't touch it. But see, the regulations come in and force financial stress on you, so when you have a student from another denomination come in, it is community school. They focus on social capital. So you have physical capital, that's money you have mental capital, that's your education, and you have social capital, your input in the community. And in this book he says, if you leave to improve your physical capital, in other words, make money someplace else, and the community needs your social capital, you shouldn't be allowed to leave. So with that attitude, that's the standard they have set. If you remove people from the community to your faith, if it's community, you're removing social capital and you will be closed. So it's Hitler, he did the same thing with the Catholics and the Lutherans. Catholic school would have 30 students per one teacher, and they would close the school down, too many students per teacher. And then the Lutherans would say, well, if we can bring the Catholics over, we'll, be able to witness to them. And the Catholics, at least they've got some religious training. All of a sudden, they're a community school. They're closed. Equality of opportunity becomes ever greater with the weakening of the family power. So, by the way, I throw that up there because if you want to study it, go read it. It's worth spending the time. Well, so if we're going to equality of opportunity, we have to destroy the family base, the family structure. I'm just going to skip through these because he just keeps building on it. We've got to destroy the parents. 1954, this is our leadership and education in this nation. Can the student accept the fact that the traditional family might be changed and might possibly disappear? Do you even have that as a concept? This is Margaret Spelling, our current Secretary of Education, very close with President Bush, as you can see there. She was asked on C-SPAN to react to census data showing a decline in the traditional family. And what's her response? So what? There are lots of different types of families. So it's really a contempt for that traditional home. This book out of California by Irvin Yalom, Theory and Practice in Group Psychotherapy, took me half a year to get through this, not because it's a heavy read. Well, it is in a way, because after about 15 pages, my blood pressure was up so high, I had to put it down till I came back to sanity. This is an evil book. This is like reading the devil's Bible. This is foundational for counseling across this nation. And I've got 2,400 slides. Tonight we'll be lucky if I hit 100. I've got 600 out of this book, and if I went through it, you would be probably so depressed you'd be crawling out of here because it is unbelievable, because we've all been through it and survived, thank God. But it's all about how to destroy us. He says, few therapists will deny that the primary family of each group member is an omnipresent specter which relentlessly haunts the group therapy room. See, all of you bring the parent's brain in here. See, Jesus, what is it? We have to put on the mind of Christ. What was the mind of Christ? Do the Father's will. And so you're damaged. He says, every counselor has to deal with these Christians, or even pagan, who come in and say, there's a higher authority, there's a higher voice we must listen to. The therapy group reincarnates the primary family, evokes ancient memories and ancient feelings. And why do they do that? Because, see, if I were facilitating tonight and I allowed everybody to share, say we're working on a bridge. Let me back up, define what has to be destroyed. If I was a chairman, an honest chairman with Robert's Rules of Order, I would simply ask you, do you know how to work on a bridge? And you say, probably, no, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. See, because we're interested in facts, not relationship. But if I were a facilitator, I would ask you, how do you feel about this crisis? And a 5-year-old can say, well, I feel like we ought to fix it. Why? Because they want to ride their bike across it. Well, what do you think about it? An 8-year-old can say, well, I think it should be pink. So the moment I go to I feel and I think language, no position can be developed on how you feel or what you think. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to allow everybody to share, And that's going to frustrate you, because if you do know how to fix a bridge, we're getting all this stupid stuff. And you're going to eventually go after me, because I'm allowing this permissive waste of your time to go on. And you've been trained to respect authority. Now you have to stand up and take me on, and you probably raise your voice. You're upset with me. Well, that's fine. Actually, a facilitator, I would want you to, come after me. Come after me. I'm getting you to attack your parents. You've never experienced it before. You can be a 30-year-old legislator, 30 years in the legislative chambers. You've never experienced this. I'm going to teach you how to get through this. Denial, get rid of that respect for higher authority. Come after me. And so you start coming after me. You raise your voice. Now I'm the victim. You're the one who's attacking. The group will go after you. And then it's convoluted. I'll protect you from the group. I'm your best friend. See, and so I have to create this environment where it invokes this dissatisfaction, but at the same time, you're going to have rejection. Let me go on. He reenacts early family scripts in the group, and if therapy is successful, is able to experiment with new behavior to break free from the locked family role he once occupied. The patient changes the past by reconstructing it. This is what therapy is all about. He must experience the group as a refuge wherein he is safe, wherein he can entertain new beliefs and experiment with new behavior without fear of reprisal. One of the most fascinating aspects of group therapy is that everyone is born again, born together in the group. Marx wrote, the real nature of man is the totality of social relations. He says, it is not individualism that fulfills the individual. On the contrary, it destroys him. Society is a necessary framework through which freedom and individuality are made realities only in a socialist society. And this is Joseph O'Malley referring to Marx's work here. Only within a social context, individual man is able to realize his potential as a rational being. Rogers put it this way, he's being questioned here by others, have you merely released the beast, the id in man? He says, there is no beast in man. There is only man in man, and this we have been able to release. I have a little sympathy, he says, with a rather prevalent concept that man is basically irrational and that his impulses, if not controlled, will lead to destruction of others and self. This is Paul Tillich. I wish I'd read this before I went to seminary. A good book to read, by the way, Paul Tillich's Dialectic Humanism by Leonard Wheat. Sin, he says, is the estrangement of man from man. No, it's not. Sin is the estrangement of man from God. But we're hearing ministers who are removed from their denomination because they're hurting their members' feelings, and they haven't learned that sin is the estrangement of man from man. And they'll actually ask, what sin am I in? Sin am I in because I want to repent, I want to be in right relationship with the Lord. And they'll say, well, you're just hurting people's feelings, and that's considered a sin. A stranger, Tillich writes, even if his name were God who imposes commands on us, must be resisted, he must be killed because nobody can stand him. Nietzsche's ugliest man. Why did they kill the ugliest man? Because they couldn't stand him. Why will your friends even turn on you in a meeting? Because they can't stand you. You're the ugliest person because you come in with this ugly attitude. There is right and wrong and black and white and light and dark and sheep and goats. This book I call Cookbook on Humans, Human Relations in Curriculum Change. Everything we're doing is in this one book. When I first started this, you probably go down to the university and find it in, they're throwing them away. Now it'll cost you $200. So I've actually probably made them some money. It's very hard to find. But this is a result of the first National Training Lab in Bethel, Maine, 1947, funded by the Office of the Navy, Marxist training camp. There are now 10 of them. You can get on the internet. I just took you, when I first started, showed you. You can get on that February article of 1997 and download them. I just checked them out yesterday just to make sure you could. And you'll go straight there. And of course, they all care about your children. They have your children's potential in mind and all those things. Well, this book, you can get the COPS program 2006, word for word in here, 1947 by a Marxist in the COPS community-oriented policing programs today. Everything we're doing is in this book. This is the result of the Frankfurt School. Kenneth Benet, his doctoral dissertation under John Dewey. It's all about laboratories, getting you into the right environment to change the way you think. Kurt Lewin's material is in here. He came from Berlin. He ended up in Iowa City, heartland of America, the father of group dynamics, how to unfreeze you, move you, refreeze you, 3 steps of brainwashing, force field analysis. If I had some fun games here for you to do, and I had diversity in here, I had people that you would say, well, that's an abomination. I would have an observer observe your body language. A recorder uh,